Hi guys, so I'm currently in the process of preparing for a weekend vacation in Galena, Illinois, of all places. Don't ask, it was the best deal for what we were looking for. So a few of my girlfriends are going to go to Galena and just have some, mid-winter time fun. So I want to show you how I prepare for this type of situation, because there are so many social pressures and things that discourage people from maintaining a healthy lifestyle while on vacation. And I just want to reassure you that this does not have to be the case. And there are some very applicable strategies you can utilize even before you leave to start preparing for the situation that you're about to embark on. So I'm a part of this awesome community income school, and I wanted to ask some questions that my viewers would be interested in. Sorry, I didn't ask you guys directly. I totally should have done that. I didn't have the foresight, but next time for sure. So I'm just gonna go over some of the questions that they gave me, and I think they're super important. So I hope you find this helpful. Number one, dealing with those social pressures, what to say without sounding like a jerk. So basically, this is like what to tell people without seeming judgmental, because so many people have the judgment of thinking that just because somebody's eating healthy, it means that they're judging the way other people are eating, but it's just not the case. I don't care how you eat, to be perfectly honest. All I care about is what's going into my body. So I'm gonna stick to my guns regardless of the choices that you're making. So you're basically trying to be relatable while still being different. And this is totally fine. And it does take some finesse, it takes some practice and getting used to, but after a while, you're gonna learn that basically sticking to your dietary goals and your health goals is far more important than following the crowd and wanting to be liked and accepted. Because if they're truly your friends, they're going to accept you regardless of what you choose to eat. Let's just be honest. Some polite ways of declining the food that is inevitably about to be offered to me, and actually has already been offered to me prior to leaving, because everybody's, preparing and packing and getting ready, and they want to know, should I bring these snacks or those snacks, or are you guys going to want me to bring this alcohol or that alcohol, which we'll get into in a minute. But you always reply by stating some kind of form of gratitude that they have even considered providing such a gesture. And then you can follow that up with a very brief explanation of, yeah, but no thanks, because right now, I'm still focusing on losing weight, or one of the fail-safes is always to include your doctor, because if your doctor has something to say about this, then there's that authoritative figure that they're like, okay, yeah, it's legit. The doc says it's okay. She's not crazy, or she's not judging me because of my poor dietary habits. My friends have known me for a long time, and they know exactly how much I have suffered through dietary issues. So I think that is a great amount of leverage that I tend to use, and they just tend to understand. So after a while, it gets to the point where your friends don't even really put as much coercion on you. I don't want to say coercion, but sometimes that is the case, whether or not it's intentional. After a while, your friends just get used to the fact that you're going to reply in a very consistent manner each time they ask these questions. So yes, they may still ask, but the tendency to push the issue will not be there. They'll ask, you'll reply, they'll move on. All right, let's move on to a big one. Alcohol. So yes, I have a bottle of vodka in my hand, but it is not for me. I am bringing it for my friends because I know this is their favorite, and I know they are going to ask me to be drinking and kind of prefer that I'll be drinking, but it's a very polite way of declining. Look, I don't care if you guys drink. In fact, here's a bottle of liquor, but I'm just not feeling it. Sometimes I would drink with them in the past, but honestly, it's just not been something I've been interested in for quite a while. Healthful living and alcohol simply don't go hand in hand, and the sooner I think I realized that, the more I could finally appreciate what it feels like to exist in a healthy body. Alcohol just seems to undo everything that a healthy diet tends to repair and build. So some fun drinks I have instead of alcohol are things like sparkling water. I love this. It's literally just carbonated water and no sodium, no artificial flavors, nothing like that. Although you can get, you know, blackberries and lemons and limes and all kinds of fun things to throw in there, either fresh fruit or get those artificially flavored cans of sparkling water. So that kind of gives the feel of an alcoholic beverage without the alcohol. So some snacks, let's move on to that. That's a fun one. I'm gonna be showing you actually in a separate video how I'm preparing for this trip. So you can go ahead and watch that if you're interested in some ideas for the specifics that I'm going to be bringing with me over the weekend. But right now, I'll just let you know that I always bring something to outings, because for one, you want something that you can eat. So you want to guarantee that you're going to have something available to you. But number two, you want to show that sense of community and that courteous gesture. It's just a polite way of including yourself in the event without seeming judgmental or too harsh about not accepting the less healthful foods that are inevitably going to be offered to you. So some go-tos that I typically prepare ahead of time are things like fruit salads and raw veggies and some kind of homemade hummus or salsa. People will not eat lots of this, so don't feel like you have to bring a ton, because there's going to be a lot of highly palatable options available, like cakes and cookies and chips and crackers and stuff like that. But don't take it personal. It's just our society and our nature, to be honest. So the next one I'm going to talk about is, do I ever cheat? This is an awesome question, because the truth of the matter is I used to cheat from time to time and it made me feel like crap. Not only in the moment, but days and sometimes even weeks later, depending on how much I ate and exactly what I was eating. But my body responds very quickly to junk food and things that aren't necessarily helping my body in any sort of way. The typical snack foods that you would find at parties. I just really don't touch them anymore, because I just find it's not worth it. And the more you eat like this, the more you don't really crave those things, and they taste very different to you after eating such natural foods for so long, because your taste buds literally change and adapt to whatever it is that you eat. So if you haven't had ice cream and cookies and chips and pizzas and stuff like that for a long time, and then you bite into it, it's just, ugh, it's gross. So nowadays, what I do is I will broaden my intermittent fasting window when I'm on social outings. So instead of eating from my normal time frame of like that 6 hours in the day, I will expand that a little bit to accommodate for the social events that I'm going to be engaged in. So I kind of feel like that's cheating in a way. So if I'm lenient on that aspect of my diet, I really don't feel the need to go any farther and cheat on, you know, those highly palatable foods. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is how I specifically prepare for this trip, meaning what types of foods I bring, as well as what types of kitchen equipment I'll be needing. So as I mentioned previously, I'm gonna make a separate video showing you exactly how I prepared for this trip, but for now I'll just kind of graze over the highlights. I just bought a travel size Instant Pot to make sure I was able to cook the foods that I need to while I'm away on this trip, and to give you guys a feel for how easy it can be to eat healthy on vacation. The specific foods I'm packing tend to just be leftovers. I batch cook. For anybody who watches my videos, you know how big a fan I am of batch cooking. So I already have a ton of food prepared just by having that routine of making 2 to 3 times as much food as I need each and every time I make a recipe. I'm gonna be bringing stuff like my salad and my grains and my beans, and I'm bringing some dried oatmeal to prepare in my travel size pressure cooker, as well as some sweet potatoes. And then I have a shopping trip in mind that I'll also be showing you guys in that preparation video on the types of things that I'll be needing on hand. So like fresh veggies and some frozen berries and such. The last thing I want to mention is why it is so important to stay on track even while you're on vacation. Yes, it's so easy to give in to the large buffet of foods that I'm about to be inevitably presented with, but it doesn't make me feel good in the moment, and it doesn't make me feel good afterwards. So after engaging in that very typical behavior of overindulgence when presented with a ton of food options and not necessarily healthful food options, I've just come to the point where I know it's gonna make me feel like crap, and I know I'm going to want to get up early in the morning and work out, and it's really gonna be hindered if I engage in any of those behaviors the night prior. So I'm just going to continue my healthy routine and be able to enjoy my vacation that much more. Because if you're feeling like junk, especially if you're hungover, let's say, whether it's on junk food or on alcohol, you're going to not be able to engage in the activities that were planned for the specific vacation. You're not going to be able to get the most out of your trip. This is expensive, and it took a lot of forethought and planning and energy. I don't want to impact the enjoyment that I'll be experiencing on this trip by putting things in my body that I know are going to make me feel like junk. And your friends will love you no matter what your dietary decisions. So just be confident, stick to your guns, and just know that you're doing what's best for yourself. I mean, how can they not respect that? If they don't, like I said, they're not your friends. But if you have strategies that I haven't discussed here today, please leave them in the comment section below, because I'm always looking for ways to overcome these social barriers when it comes to eating healthfully. It's really crazy that we even have to make these strategies for healthful living, because it's something that should be celebrated. But instead, I'm like an anomaly with all my friends. Like, I literally don't know anybody else that eats the way I do. So I hope some of these things I said to you today resonate, and you can use them in your situations with your friends or with your family members on vacation. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video.